All right, 99.9 Punk World Radio FM. You guys already know what time it is. And right here, we are live with Finland's own. We have Hard Years in the building on the 99.9 FM frequency here in Prescott, Ontario, Canada. And of course, Facebook and YouTube as well. How are you doing this morning, I should say, since it's actually bright and early there for you?
I'm doing fine, thanks. Hope you're doing great too.
Doing great, man. It's about 9:30 p.m. here in Canada, so it's really cool how these type of technology can make two individuals, one from Canada, one from Finland, come together and just chat and talk about music, man. Internet is a blessing like this, but sometimes internet can be a curse as well.
Yeah, it can be, and for especially in nowadays when you really have to try to put yourself out there. There are so many things on the social network coming out in music industry. It's a blessing to have someone to be interested in your music and raise you up a bit so you can tell about yourself on or your music a bit. So thanks for
I
having me.
definitely agree, man.
Yeah.
I definitely agree as well, man. The crazy thing is too the music industry with the internet now that there's so much technology, anybody can be an artist, anybody can be a producer, anyone can do anything. So it's such an oversaturated market. So it just has it's a lot more competition out there to actually all come together as one. So I mean, at the end of the
That's
day, it's harder for individuals to get heard.
and I have to say that people have become lazy because of network. Because back in the day, I'm an old fart myself. I'm 40. When I was young, it was that thing that when you discovered a new band, you didn't have social network. You have to try to find every information from the magazines or whatever. But nowadays, it's just few clicks and you can find almost anything. And, and same thing if you listening records from the cassette tape or vinyl, you couldn't skip anything. You just have to listen to the whole record through and through. But nowadays, you're just pressing the skip and find your favorite songs, and that's it. So it has become a pretty fast the thing how people are consuming music nowadays.
But I have to ask as well, because obviously, you're such a talented individual. You literally are a one-man band, and we're gonna get into that. But with that being said, man, like, what actually inspired you to pursue a career within the music industry initially, man? Because you're such a talented individual.
For me, music has always been tied to sports because I'm working as an entrepreneur. I'm a strength coach. My gym anniversary this year, and music has always been. I think that I become pretty musical family. There has always been music around me, so it was quite natural for me to somehow proceed music. Uh, I actually my first love were drums, as you can see background. Some drums behind me, but I wasn't able to play them because me and my mom we were living in this storage apartment that I wasn't able to play the drums, so that's why the guitar was the next choice for me. And after that one, I pretty much when I learned to play, I never have had any kind of musical education. I'm a self-taught person in music, but I started doing songs, and I think it was 1992 when we formed our first band. It was called Brain Manglers, heavily influenced by Cannibal Corpse and Obituary and Morbid Angel and these kinds of like death metal bands. And after that, I've played almost like during my whole life. I've done music. For me, it's a way to express my feelings and inner thoughts and try to put out some anxiety, and maybe sometimes if I feel a bit depressed I might write a song about it, or if I see the news of the world and something really like stays in my mind, I might do a song about it. So it's a way to express myself.
And going back as well, when you mentioned about the Manglers as well, I have to ask, man, like, obviously this is like the early 90s, but is there actually any music out there that's been leaked to the to YouTube at all? That way, individuals that didn't know this aspect of your career, they can kind of go back and hear, the early days of yourself.
There aren't music from that era, because those were the times that we were recording with the cassette recorders. But in early 2000, I think that there is some clips from YouTube from the band called Sign Lane, and we were performing all over the eastern Finland. So there can be find some videos from the gigs and stuff like that. And also I'm at the moment in few different bands, always the same, that does pop punk, and Harkko, that is more of like a hardcore punk band here in Finland. You can find those bands in Spotify too.
And when you actually said you had the opportunity to tour all over Finland, I have to ask, man, what was it like just being so early on in your career, being able to tour and see your beautiful country? And of course, like, what was one of your most fondest memories just of that tour? Because I know with my country, I've been all over the place, but there's still things that I'm still discovering through my travels throughout the years as well.
Well, I think that there was first this kind of like a glorious thoughts about the whole thing, performing with the big audiences, but the truth was that the venues were pretty small that we were in at first, and but of course the excitement of the playing live, that's the one thing that I love about the music, is performing for people. Of course now it's pretty hard, because if you are a one man band, you have to come up with the band to perform for people. But in those days, that was the sugar of the thing, to be able to perform. And well, touring is it's let's say that it's the thing that when you are on stage, that's the like the icing top of the cake. But then all the rest of the stuff, like doing the sound check and doing the roading stuff and things like that, when you get older, when you have families and children and stuff like that, it becomes harder, because it takes time, and then it also takes time away from your family. But it was fun. The greatest memories, there are lots of good memories, there are lots of good friends, also internationally nationally, that you met. But I think that the one thing I have to say, shout out to Toni Heikinmäki, one of my good friends that has this band East Electric. People should check that out. They make this kind of classic rock type of, little bit Led Zeppelin and thing. We were playing in Sign Lane together, and Tony put his guitar on the amp, his second guitar on the amp, like ready for the next song, and he was really shredding, and he didn't notice that the amp was resonating because of the music, and his guitar was moving on the amp, like little by little, and after a few moments the guitar dropped down, and I think that the neck broke in that guitar. But nowadays the guitar has been repaired, and he's playing with it. But that was, at the moment, it wasn't fun, but now later it's one of the fun memories.
Because once you said he put it on top of the amp, in my head, I'm like, oh no, oh no. Please make this turn out to be a good story. But then when you said the neck broke, I was like, oh god. That to me, just a music fan. I can't play guitar. There's a reason why I'm a DJ and I just spin the music. But I also love the music. So when you said that, I was like, oh no, the guitar. Please no. But also as well, you are also a member of another phenomenal band by the name of Halo One. I was wondering if you can just tell us the story behind that band, and of course, like, how did you actually meet the other members, and of course, just come together to join that band originally?
The Halo one.
A Halo one, yeah.
Yeah, actually, Halo One is also a one-man band. So I play everything by myself in that band too. So it's a solo project for me. Uh, I've always been into metal music, and for me, it's like a natural ground operating. And I started Halo One in 2017. And the first album came out in same year, called Fragmentation was the first album, and it was really fun to start this kind of project because uh, when I do music, I and that's a big compliment for me that you thought that it's a real band, because as a player I try to do each of my records that way that it would sound like a proper band. It's almost like a schizophrenic feeling when you can be a bass player and then you can be a drummer and you can think that okay, would this be a good line in that I want to follow just the guitar line, I want to do something else with the bass or things like that. So it's a fun thing to try to operate with different instruments in that. And Halo One had 7 albums. There are also one album that has Finnish songs in Finnish too, but it had like a small commercial success here in Finland, not big but small, and some of the uh, publicists in internet world found out that band and also thought that that was pretty good music. I don't know if it is, but maybe people have to go and listen. But it's more like modern metalcore type of thing. But that's
And
not so like it was before that we had a few experiments, like few bands that didn't just work out. I think the mostly because of the schedules of different individuals. So it was natural for me to try to do something just by myself. So Halo One was born, and same thing with Hard Years, that I had bunch of alternative rock slash punk rock slash grunge songs in my drawing board that didn't fit in any of those bands list, so to say, so to speak. And so I thought that okay, now it's time to do a alternative rock record. And well, I came up with the name because we all have experienced quite hard years lately, COVID and things like that. So that's why the name Hard Years.
And before we jump over to the hard years, I know you mentioned a few moments ago about the 8-track album Fragmentation that actually dropped June 4th of 2018. I was wondering if you can actually just tell us, is there actually any hard copies available of this project? It's still circulating around to be purchased today, because I do know sometimes individuals like yourselves might have a box in the closet or something like that, or still have a few more copies left to sell. Like, is there anything left in your
Yeah,
possession to actually sell for this album?
yeah. Sadly, no. That's all of the hard copies that I made. They have sold out. I don't know if I would press any of those records again, but maybe in the future, maybe. But now there are just songs on air in the all the streaming platforms. Sadly, because I know that there are people that would like to have the hard copy of the record or some of the records, but because you're not so popular now at the moment, uh, it's maybe too expensive to just press like 1,000 records and then, like you said, you have a box full of records on your closet. So yeah, that's why those songs are, or those albums are, the way they are at the moment.
And especially the vinyl wait times alone, like, so obviously just for the vinyls, obviously I heard it's like 2 years of a wait. By the time you press those vinyls, purchase
Yeah,
them, you're sitting around waiting, you already got a new record out.
that's true. That's true. And you should like bomb yourself in every month that people would remember you. So that's the problem in those pressing times.
And also, as well, as we spoke about, like throughout the interview, you are currently a one-man band, not only for Halo One, but of course Hard Years as well. I was wondering if you could actually just tell us a bit more about that, and of course, like, what is it like actually doing legitimately everything in a band? Because obviously, other bands they have their own drummer, their own guitarist, their own bassist, but you're literally everything, man. I gotta say, nothing but absolute respect for you, man, because you're doing like 5 jobs or in one, man. So it's absolutely extraordinary.
For me, it's a blessing to have an opportunity to make like a proper song in just like by one sit. I'm that kind of artist that if I come up with some riff with guitar or some drum fill, uh, I pretty much have to do the whole song in straight way. That might not be the final version of the song, but usually I have to do some singing melody at least to the background and put some lead guitars and rhythm guitars and bass and drums in it. So because when I a good example is that the song Colors in Something Record, the Hard Years album, and actually it's a colors like in English way typed, because I was just wanted to tease people with that name. uh, I came up that song with just the drum fill that it's in the beginning of the song, but I was just jamming with my drums, and I heard like pretty much the whole song in my head when I was playing it. So I had to do the whole song in that straight way. So I had to record guitars, and nowadays it's so easy when you have computers. Uh, Back in the days when you have those cassette tapes and cassette players, it was a lot more harder to record. You have to pretty much record playing and singing a straight way, and it might sound pretty awkward. But nowadays, when you have computers, you just plug your guitar in and you can save your ideas on the computer, and then later come up with them and do whatever you want with them. So it's a lot more easier nowadays to do music with those computers. I try to be like as natural as I can with my music, so I don't want to use any auto tune with my voice or things like that. I want to do it the raw as possible, but still the technology helps you a lot, so why not to take advantage of it?
And I gotta say, when you actually reached out, because I actually discovered you by you sending me your music via email. When I heard your music, man, it absolutely blew me away. I ate it up. I was like, boom, no questions whatsoever. This is going directly in the radio station airwaves. And I had absolutely no clue that you were actually a one man band that did everything yourself until I actually looked you up on social media, and I was like, wait a minute, I only see one guy. And right then and there, I grew even more respect for you, man, just because you do everything yourself. I mean, at the end of the day, obviously, being a part of a band with other members is obviously difficult as well because you got to put everyone's styles together. But I find being that talented to do the drums, the bass, the guitar, the singing, the production, I mean, that's just absolutely extraordinary.
Yeah, and that could be a good thing that you have those different members in your band, because that's a pretty like sure thing that when you are doing music just by yourself, you you come up quite deaf for your own recordings. So sometimes you have to just stop doing it for a while and then come back and see it again, so you will get new ideas. And of course sometimes you can use your friends that how this sounds like, would this be good in this song or whatever. And of course I've thought about it a lot, that how does it look from the outside, that um, you don't have a picture of a group of guys or girls or persons in the picture, at, like uh, as a band, but you have just this one person that would have be interesting enough that there's just this one person, people to reach out and check out the music. But I hope that it is like you said, that it grew on you even more, that you see that there's just one person behind the music. So thanks for the compliments.
Hey, you're most certainly welcome, man. But also, September 15th of 2023, you actually released the amazing, highly anticipated album titled Something. I was wondering if you can actually just tell us a bit more about your brand new album, and of course, where can we actually buy or stream ourselves a copy today?
Yeah, well, the album should be in every streaming platforms. Um, don't know yet if I will press hard copies from it. Might do that. Uh, well, like I said earlier, I had a bunch of songs in the drawing board, and I've always loved bands like Alice in Chains and those early '90s grunge bands. So uh, there's still little left in me, that kind of music that just had to be put out. And I think that maybe Hard Years as a band and as a music is a bit more easier to approach, like in commercial way, than Halo 1, because Halo 1 is more of this kind of metal with growls and really hard riffs and that kind of stuff. And Hard Years is quite hard too, but still I think it's a bit more radio friendly music, maybe. And um, and there are songs like, for example, Carol Has a Bike in the album that just doesn't have a deeper meaning in it. Just came up with the riff, which is a bit of like a Nirvana type of riff, and immediately that came in my head, the line that, okay, that there's this girl who wants to or loves to ride a bike, and he loves his boyfriend, and there's no deeper meaning of the song. But on the other hand, there are also a really uh, like deeper songs like I Will Break, which is a song about the anxiety and depression, and think that it could be also uh, be a song from the toxic relationship and things like that. So there are, if people just wanna stop and listen to these songs, there are quite a lot in them. So the Hard Years was also this kind of how would I would describe it, like a purification for me after the COVID years and that kind of stuff. So it was album that needed to be done, let's say it that way.
And I have to ask, man, what is next for yourself and of course the hard years? Like, is there anything we happen to miss during this evening's broadcast? Anything else you do still want to touch on, talk about, or promote? What's got you here live on the radio station airwaves this evening?
uh, for the future, I will definitely do more music as a Hard Years. So the band won't be just a one album wonder. uh, would I collect some members and perform a band? Not sure yet, because there has been a talk about doing gigs in the next summer, but we will see what happens. And like I said earlier, as an entrepreneur, it's pretty hard to try to find a time in your schedule to fit everything uh, in the calendar. So we will see what happens. But I try to do a few music videos next. Those are in the top of the line next. Let's see what happens. I will not reveal yet that what songs they will be, but there will be few music videos coming out from the Something album. And after that, just like try to promote it as much as I can and hope that people will get something from it. That's because I really have to say from the bottom of my heart that uh, for me it's not big thing to have a 30,000 listeners. That's not the thing for me. I do music for the love of doing it, playing it, performing it. But if some people have something from my songs, that's awesome and beautiful. And I hope that people will discover those songs and will have some light and strength in their day and life from those songs. That's a goal for me in the hard years.
And also, obviously, like I know how to follow you on social media, but for the individuals that are just discovering the hard years here in Canada, or anywhere in the world that is watching or listening, whether it's live right now or in 6 months on demand, how can they go about following yourself on social media and staying updated on everything you got going on?
Yeah, you can follow Hard Years in Instagram. Just type Hard Years and you will follow. You find it, and in Spotify, Deezer, Tidal, those like YouTube Music, iTunes. I think in every streaming platform should have those songs and that new album. You can find it there. And I hope that also other radio stations will notice that how excellent and beautiful the new album is. No, I'm just kidding, but I just hope that they will find out some few songs on the air, so people will hear it.
And I gotta say, first and foremost, thank you so much, man, for giving not only myself, but the radio station Airways a little bit of your time. And of course, getting up at the bright early morning of 4:30 a.m. just to actually talk with myself and, of course, our listeners this evening on my end, and, of course, morning on your end, man. It was such an honor. And hopefully down the line we can make this happen again sometime soon. But for now, again, thank you, and definitely have yourself a phenomenal day out there in Finland.
Thanks for having me, and I'm still honored to be on your show. Everything good for you and for the listeners too. And stay tuned and rock on.
Hey, most definitely, man. Thank you so much. Have yourself a wonderful day.
Thank you.